Getting comfortable on the bass is no easy task, and there are many different ways that people try to crack this particular nut. Some people stand with the bass, that presents certain challenges. Some people sit, which presents other challenges, and one of them is how to get the bass in a comfortable position. Some people use a guitar footstool. I have used a yoga block for a while, but my friend and the wonderful bass teacher and player Petru Iuga has invented this very cool support called the ErgoBass. I tried it out a few years ago and absolutely loved it. I've been meaning to get my hands on it. He sent me one of these. So in today's video, we're going to test this out and check out how it brilliantly combines some of the advantages of sitting with some of the advantages of standing. One of the things that first struck me was how small this really is. For some reason, I was picturing this massive contraption in my mind, but this is actually quite portable, and it folds down, so this would fit in the pocket of your bass case or certainly in a small bag, no problem. And it says this in the instructions, but make sure you are only using this while you're playing. Do not attempt to carry the bass with the ErgoBass or leave it on. That's probably obvious, but don't do that.
When I developed my bass support, the back of bass switch of the ErgoBass, I had really to, it was 5 years long, analyzing everything, trying to see how the bass are playing, how many different ways, how can I develop something that works for everyone who sits, So I had really to put myself, my conception away, and be very, like a beginner analyzing someone, that I can really see the difference, what makes difference with every player.
Make sure that I have this padded side pointed toward the bass. It has these little gripper spots right here. And so these are going to go on the edge of the back. And then I pull, ooh, cool. Oh my goodness, this is so easy. There are all sorts of ways to configure this, and you can loosen and tighten it on this end here. So I'm just going to get it. Oh, and you can get it further away. Oh, wow, it's super configurable. Now I remember why I gravitated toward this when I was trying it out a few years back. It really does shift the bass into a dramatically more comfortable position.
I had a nice, beautiful Italian bass. The older bass, they are big and long or whatever. So I really love the bass, but it's really tall. I realized that I'm not free. And I had pain a bit in the side of the bone. And then I said, okay, there is a problem. I need to, because I started to meditate it before I did Zen. And I this balance, this centration of the body, breathe, and when I started practicing, I realized my breath is getting bad. I was fighting. I kind of did play somehow, but I was not happy. So it was kind of this necessity somehow to put two legs on the floor and that I can really be stable on the floor.
Now, if I want to take it off, oh yeah, easy. I just pull and then it comes undone. So yeah, this is really quite brilliantly engineered.
This position is going to be more for weight of the arm and body, because that's also the body is integrated to the sound. We don't play only with the hands. We play with all the body, starting from the feet to the legs, over spine and contact point.
So if I don't have ErgoBass, what are my options? Well, they're not optimal. There are different strokes for different folks, and all sorts of different things work for different people. But if I have both my feet flat on the floor, for me, and most people, I think, the bass is all of a sudden in a cello position. Now, that may be great for you or it may not, depending on your style of playing. For me, this is way too far away on the G string side. So I feel like I am really compensating to get over here. It feels pretty comfortable for the E string side, but it's really reach. Now, I know a lot of people that follow the Francois Rabath technique like having the bass angled this way a little bit. I was taught to have the bass more like this, but not too much like this. If I have this right here, I'm going to be bowing my leg on the E string, so that doesn't work. So feet flat on the floor aren't going to work for me. They will work if I really lower my stool, and let's see what that looks like. All right, now I can have both feet flat on the floor, but I feel like I'm sitting in like an office chair trying to play bass. This feels way too low for me, and my body is pretty dramatically touching the back of the bass. That is going to hamper vibrations to some extent. How much? Well, there's a lot of debate and it depends on your bass, but if you just use common sense, the more of your body that's touching the back of the bass, the less the bass is going to resonate.
And it has a secondary effect that we don't touch the back, so the back is resonating more free. It's getting 25% mathematically more sound when we don't touch really the bass. So it'd be like in standing.
You know, if I take and I go like this, and I put my hand on the top, I can really notice a difference in the sound. I can also notice it on the back. It's not as dramatic, but it is there. So the low stool, for a variety of reasons, just doesn't really work so well for me. So if I bring this stool back up, by the way, if you want to know about this nifty bass stool, it's easy to buy. I did a whole video on it. I am now back in this uncomfortable position. So I can put my foot on a rung, and there's actually a rung built into this stool. So with my foot on the rung, I feel a lot closer to a standing position. The issue with that, and I've played this way for years, and if I'm in a pinch, I'll do this. But if you just think about how your body is when you're sitting with one foot on a rung, this is not the most stable of positions. My foot wants to go this way, it wants to go that way, it wants to slide off, and there's a tendency to just let my body lean a little away. So this is just not the most ergonomically comfortable position, especially long term. And if you're doing this hours a day, this is a little bit of a bummer. So many people have come up with different solutions, and one is a guitar footstool. That's great. It's a little bit heavy. It starts to get squeaky, and it's really easy, for me at least, to knock it over. And when I do that, it's always in a performance in the slow movement. So after several guitar stools falling apart and getting squeaky, I gave up, went back to the rung, and then started standing, and I've done videos on standing and sitting and all sorts of stuff, which I will link up to. But several years ago, I realized I'd seen so many players doing this, that a good old yoga block, good old cheap, very easily accessible yoga block was a great option. For one thing, you're not going to knock it over. It's going to make very little sound and easily replaceable, standard height, and that gets my foot just up off the ground enough and on a flat surface. So this feels much more comfortable than having my foot on a rung. For me, your mileage may vary. Now, my body is still muting the bass to an extent, and I can feel the back vibrating on my knee as I'm playing, which is a sign that, you know, the vibrations are going into my knee and not out into the audience or whoever's listening. So yeah, there is a muting effect. I am muting my bass to an extent. Putting the ErgoBass back on, and I'm already getting faster at doing it, feels like I'm standing. And the amount of my body touching the bass is so minimal now. And I feel like I'm pulling more sound, but I think it would be worth trying out a little sound experiment. So let's take the same music, and I'm going to play it standing. I'm going to play it sitting like I normally do, so yoga block, but with my body muting the bass, and then I'm going to play it with the ErgoBass. Jason from the future here as I edit this video and do laundry. I have been continuing to use the ErgoBass. It's become my default when I pull out the bass. I've been setting up my stool and I've been using that, and I've really been adapting to it quite well. I feel like it's loosening up things in my body and a great device. I highly recommend checking this out if you feel like you're just not unlocking what needs to be unlocked, or if you feel like you're compromising your sound by muting the bass. I love this, but there are many different ways to tackle posture on the bass, so check out what we've got linked up here.